So I remember like I used to sit there and just kind of like hug my mom's leg in the kitchen. You know, like we had this little nook and she would like go in the nook and I'd just sit there like all night long by like the feet of my mom. And my dad like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you and this and that. And I'll never forget like he would talk about like burning her face with acid. And mind you, I'm in elementary school. Right? So like.
So that's a lot of responsibility that you feel probably just to like take care of you.
Oh yeah. No, he'd always tell her that like if you cheat on me, and she probably was cheating on her. If you cheat on me, I'm gonna like cut you up and put you in a bottle of acid and bury you. So now you fast forward this, like I don't go to school. I'm up till 3 a.m. You know, I couldn't stay awake in school. Like so, like I remember I was like in 2nd grade, and I kept falling asleep at my desk. And my teacher took my desk away from me, and she made me like stand up. And so me, I'm like, fuck you, being this little kid, I just went and fell asleep on the ground. And mind you, like, the school system's like, oh, Sean, like, he's just a bad kid. They don't realize I'm up till 3 o'clock in the morning, like, you know, late. I mean, fuck, dude.
It's hard to stay up late and learn.
Dude, I remember, like, laying in bed. Like, I remember I stopped believing in God, man. Like, fucking, like, I had fucking, yeah, it's crazy shit. Crazy shit.
Yeah. It's okay, man. It's a lot of that's sad, dude. I used to be scared at night, like, I used to stand up, like, I heard when I was a kid that, like, if you peed around your, like, animals could pee somewhere that other animals wouldn't come. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Huh? Have you ever heard that? Yeah, I'm sorry, bud.
So,
I'm sorry, buddy.
it's all good, dude.
We don't have to talk, man. I could just sit here with you for a minute.
Fuck. It's so sick.
We can just sit here. We can just sit
Nah, it's
here.
all good. It's 6 seconds. Just process it. I think it's one of the hard things that people don't understand about trauma, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes it just comes out.
God, man. Like, I remember I have a hole in my gum. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to scratch my gum. I have a hole in my gum. You know,
Just from being nervous and stuff.
nah, just anxiety, you know? Yeah, to this day. Yeah. I mean, the day, dude, like, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't give a fuck. I mean, you can post this. I don't care.
Oh, dude, I don't have any.
No, it's all good, dude. I mean, it is what it is, dude. Like, it is what it is. Like, people understand. Like, when I talk about, like, God killing me, it's like you don't understand, dude. Like, when you go through that level of trauma, like, you just feel differently. You know? So it's like, I have a hole in my gum because I'd have so much anxiety as a kid, and I would just scratch my gum until, like, I'm just blood. You know? And, you know, you're in pre-elementary school. You don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking A. I mean, I remember like, you know, like you don't even know what it is when you're a kid. When you're really talking about like being a little kid, like laying in bed, like just, like, man, I'm just fucking, I'm done with this shit. Like, there can't be a God. Yeah, it's fucked up, dude.
No, it just makes me sad that a kid has to feel that way, you know?
Yeah, so like,
Any kid.
whenever Dreykus goes on there and like he jokes about that shit, right? It's like, dude, you have no idea. Yeah, I mean, and this is like, as a comedian, you got to joke about trauma. Like, people think like I joke about all this shit. Like, you know, as we're laughing, like, you got to joke about it. If you don't, like, how do you process that? You know, how do you process that kind of abuse? I mean, I'll never forget my brother. We were like upstairs once, and he taped knives to his fucking leg. I mean, we're talking elementary school. He was gonna go sit on the couch with my dad and stab him. You know, it's like, it's like that level of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Makes you kind of want to kill a man, but yeah, you fucking, we all gone through shit.
Your brother a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, he's all right. You know, he's a close friend.
Yeah.
It's like it just gives you like just shit you can't fucking deal with. But yeah, man, life's good. I make a lot of money now. I'm happy, but you know.
Did you think like, cause I remember being so scared when I was a kid. Like I was saying, like I remember hearing that like animals, if you pee, like animals, if an animal peed somewhere, another animal wouldn't come. So I would stand up on my bed at night and I would pee around my bed in a circle because I was afraid that things were gonna get me.
Shit, who were you afraid? Like any particular? Just
Everything. I mean, I was just afraid of everything.
well, I mean, you didn't really grow up with a dad. You know, like I understand.
Yeah, I didn't have anybody just teach me about anything. I was just like felt like I don't know. I think I felt worthless, probably. But then I think
Well, not having a dad's rough, dude. Like I mean, you had a dad, but like
yeah, but I think not having somebody like communicate with you, fucking treat you. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I was just really scared.
yeah.
That's why I think when I see a lot of you guys, like, I think there's a lot of guys out there who, fuck, I wish I could have been even able to defend myself in my neighborhood or anything. Like, I didn't have anybody to look out. I just didn't. So I think, you see
It's fucked
guys
up, man.
like you guys, it's like at least, even though you're fighting each other, it's still like,
Well, you gotta learn it. You gotta want to be violent. I mean, there's some guys like there's some guys like John Jones who's just he's a fucking athlete. He's just like there's a lot of athletes, and there's guys like me who are like, if it wasn't fighting, bro, I'd be like, these people know what it's like. But
Yeah.
to go talk to the average person, like, man, you just don't know. It's like some people do, but you don't know what it's like to be able to like. The only thing like that would make me happy is the fucking literally you'll be happy, and I would if you could let me kill a man, like happy as I can, but
right.
Selfless, right? But you're
Pull up in Memphis.
Yeah.
You can do what you want.
but see, I don't know. Like a lot of times, I don't know what it's like to talk to more people.
Yeah.
I have some people who know exactly what it's like, who've been molested, who've been abused. And it's like I have some people who know, who've been beat up. These people know what it's like. But
Yeah.
to go talk to the average person, like, man, you just don't know. It's like some people do, but you don't know what it's like to be able to like. The only thing like that would make me happy is the fucking literally cave in your fucking skull. Like the only thing that I truly want is the fucking like
Make somebody hurt.
fucking hurt. Yes, and then the problem is like it makes me volatile. So I don't really, even to this day, like I don't go out much.
You can't trust yourself,
I
probably.
can't trust myself.
I almost committed suicide 3 years ago, but I did not jump. I'm better now. What would you tell someone who might currently be on the edge?
Well, it's hard to come up with generic advice for someone who's desperate, because there's many pathways to desperation. But I had this crazy professor that I met at the University of Alberta when I was 18, and he was quite the bizarre person. He vanished one day about 20 years later. He got on a bus in Winnipeg and to go visit his family and never showed up, and we never found a trace of him. Anyways, at the University of Alberta, he worked as the psychologist at the maximum security prison that was located nearby, and he took me out there a couple of times, and so that was quite the hair-raising experience. And I met some pretty serious psychopaths in the Edmonton maximum security prison. And he was a funny guy. This Thauberger was his name. He used to give us multiple choice tests, did a course on creativity, and now and then he'd throw in a multiple choice test question, and all 4 answers would be the same, which I thought that was creative. It was certainly funny, I thought. And some of the students really hated him, but I thought he was great. He was really cool. And what did he say about suicide? You can always do it tomorrow. Yeah, well, that's pretty you tell, when you go to the hospital, you say, I'm suicidal. And I have a plan, and here's my plan. And that's, by the way, how you assess someone for suicidality, you know. Because depressed people, lots of people get depressed, will have suicidal thoughts, and they're far from rare. And so then you might ask yourself, well, how do you know when someone's suicidal? And they're suicidal when they say to you, you say, well, do you ever think self-destructive thoughts? And they say, yeah, in my father's house, there's a basement, there's a pistol down there, and it's in the top right-hand corner of the bureau, and I know the bullets for that gun are in the bottom left-hand drawer, and I've taken that gun out of that drawer and I've toyed with it, and I thought, my parents are leaving next week for a weekend, and they won't be back, and I could go into the bathroom and put the barrel in my mouth and end it. It's like, that's a suicidal person. And you know that because they're not just being plagued by vague thoughts. They have a fully detailed, implementable vision of their death. And that's not good. And so if there's anybody in the audience who has that sort of fully fleshed out fantasy, I would say, tell someone, or more than one person. Tell the closest person you have to someone who cares, and if you don't have anybody to tell, then go to the hospital and tell them, because the probability is pretty high if you're suicidal that there's actually something wrong with you, that you're ill in some manner, and maybe you're depressed, but there's a lot of reasons to be depressed. Sometimes you might be depressed because you just have a terrible life, and that's very complicated. But sometimes you're depressed because you have an immunological condition, an inflammatory condition, or you're ill in some way that hasn't been diagnosed, or you have seasonal affective disorder and your circadian rhythms are off. Like, there's a lot of reasons that you can get desperate enough to be suicidally depressed, and there's always the possibility that that can be fixed. And it's tricky, because when you're depressed, you definitely think that the future is dismal, and the past is dismal, and the present is unbearable, and the future is definitely worse, and it's all your fault besides. And that's basically the depressive cloud. It affects everything. It's very low level, profound, deep brain and psychic state, but it's generally rectifiable. And since you can always do it tomorrow, you might as well run the whole gamut of treatments before you make the final decision. So that's what I would tell people who are. Oh, and the other thing too, you got to understand too about suicide is that if there are people around you that love you, it's pretty likely that they'll never really recover. And so, you might be thinking that if you took yourself out, you'd be doing the people around you a favor. And often people who are depressed, they really believe that. But, I've had lots of clients who were pretty damn traumatized by a familial suicide, and they just torture themselves for the rest of their life, thinking, what if, I had one client, for example, her relative committed suicide an hour after she missed a phone call from them. It's like, how the hell do you recover from that, because you just think, if I would have just been there,